there's 4 planes that you have to develop, right? Like if you were under, let's say, one of my mentorships, right? I would take you and look at what are your mental, physical, financial, and spiritual goals, right? Some people, have made it financially, so they really want to get their mental goal, right, is to be more mindful, to have a greater degree of discipline, or they have a spiritual goal to be more joyful, right? To be highly at one with center and find more purpose in their daily life and movement, right? That becomes a spiritual goal. They want to feel more connected to source, to God, to, feel like the things that they do are in connection to the rest of the universe and the world, and that they matter, that their existence matter. Right. Then some people that maybe they so damn spiritual, but they haven't took no time to learn the business foundation. So their goals is pure financial. Right. So you have to be able to look at that person and say, OK, but what are you going to do with the money once you get it? Do you have a financial plan? Do you know how to build? Do you know how to stack? Do you know how to create increase? Because even the financial is a metaphysical ability, right? Being able to pull energy to you and hold and house that energy. It's almost like a Qigong, where a person learns how to move their energy. Because that's what money is. Money is currency, it's electricity, it's energy. And the ability to know how to house that energy without constantly having to give it out once you get it. Right. And then how to create more of that to where you're putting energy in things that give you more back. So like assets versus liabilities. So liabilities are things that take energy but don't give a greater degree or equal degree back. So relationships can be liabilities. Right. The places and events and things we go to. Right. We break down our lives in food, clothing, shelter, transportation, entertainment, relationships. And we can look at, our income, our debt, the money you're supposed to make, create a financial plan. Like, we have to really get to a place where we know how to create a plan for something, execute that plan, and see things scale. And when we talking that scale, the thing that got you to where you are is not the thing that's going to get you to where you need to be, because every level requires a new plan. And this is something that we don't talk enough about. It requires a new strategy, a new campaign. I've made it to different levels, and that's what I realized. Like, okay, now that we've gotten to this point, what is the higher degree? Do we just maintain this because this is what we know? And maybe the consistency is the hardest thing, keeping the team together, keeping the passion there, keeping the originality, creativity here, right? Keeping the energy sustainable. Or what does the scale look like where we jump so far ahead that we create barriers between me and competition, and we can be the rulers of this particular division? See, the scale looks completely different than the maintenance, and you have to know at what part that you at. So when we're talking about the scaling of something, now we're talking about a completely different type of way of working, right? Like, I have the ability, I'm at scale now. I remember when I simply wanted to get 100 people on a live. Now we packing rooms with thousands of people, right? We went on tour in the UK, and we packed out the Royal Albert Theatre. We went to Toronto. We had 2 dates in Toronto, and I'm coming back to Toronto next month as well. So if you and T-Dot, y'all got to pull up on me for surely. I spoke in front of the Giza pyramids, out in Dubai and all these different places. From an international perspective, we just had a high level in Ghana to where, because of that high level, we literally was able to change the visa requirements, right, in Ghana, and it was changed in Kenya. So when you start having real impact, things change. Now you start figuring out, all right, what's the best way to leverage this to build out a full movement to where something that changes the world again. That scale is completely different. So what I learned is that my mind got me to where I am now, but to where I want to be, sometimes I have to learn to jump into someone else's mind, because my mind is going to keep thinking like this sometimes. So that's where consultation comes in. I talk to people who think different than me, and I say, I need your mind on this. This is where masterminds come into play. This is why we listen to people. This is why we learn, because now we get to think outside of ourselves to do something that we normally couldn't do, because we're not thinking like us. We're thinking like someone else. And that ability to know how to leverage the mindset, the patterns of thinking that someone else has, after you done scaled your thing up to a point where you've exhausted the current resources of your thinking at this level, then you learn from somebody else so you can get to another level and another level and another level. And it's a rinse and repeat cycle. So learning how to build your future, right? Learning how to scale that future, how to build and create these meeting of the minds, and how to craft realities. And, one thing I'm going to teach in LA, not only about the future, but how to create an entity that could become a global presence around the world. And I'm speaking very cryptic on it right now, but I'll be very openly in LA, because there's a lot of things that the average person is taught in school. They're not taught about the metaphysical things about reality. You're taught about the physical things. They teach you how to create LLC and all of that, but they don't teach you the power and the root behind it on why these systems were created a certain way, because that gives you what you call root power. Once you have root power, you have the ability to create change, right, at a foundational level, right? Not a branch level. You can't go into no bank in America and change the banking system by talking to a branch manager. No, that's not how it works. That's not the root. The branch manager can't do nothing. Not changing out the banking system. You go and complain to him, you wasting your time. No, you want to go to the root. You want to go to the families that run it. You want to go to the lobbies that have control over systems of power. Or you created your own route, which would be a decentralized route, saying that we're just going to do things completely different outside of this system and create our own system. And this is where we don't always get to. We talk about operating outside of their system, but never talk about operating inside our system. Right? And this is the real power. This is where you get to something that's really amazing. When you start talking about operating in your own system. Now you're getting to a level where it expands you and it takes you to another height. We don't want to just go to a place where hey, we out the system. No, we have to be in a system, your own system. That's the next level. That's the highest level.